So I got a comment from Danimal PK on Instagram asking for a tour of my setup out here in Oakland, Squadron Studio, right here, Mi Casa. He was expressing how much he likes to see me swing and how impressive it is that I can do so much with so few obstacles. And yeah, I actually have some alterations to make to the newest alterations I've made to the space. I gotta shorten this bar right here because it's a little too long and it actually closes up too much of this already tight space right here. So I'm gonna do that and try to give a little bit of a tour of sorts of my setup and you know, some of the specific features and the ways in which I use them and how they were designed and purposed specifically to challenge me and challenge my style. So yeah, I'm gonna start by shortening this bar. Might just swap it out, but worst case scenario, I will cut it if I have to, and testing this bar here to make sure that it still has the kind of rigidity that I like when I'm swinging on these bars. So yeah, we'll see about it. Anyway, Danimal, shout out you, dog. Hope that you enjoy this video. And yeah, if you guys have any more questions for me about how I train or how I use my setup, why I designed my setup the way that I do, or anything else under the sun, go ahead and drop those comments underneath this video or hit me on Instagram and I'll make a video about it. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get to this bar right now. Also, friggin' sick bike right here. You see this bike right here? It's finally got it back after an unfortunate run-in with the Ruinizer, you know, but I finally got it back, got it fixed, and put new pedals, put new bar tape on here and everything. So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Get to a ride later too. But yeah, anyway, about to get to the video, about to get to shortening this bar right now. So check in with me. Okay, so I put a shorter bar in here and I moved this bottom piece up about almost a foot. So that actually clears a lot of headroom. I was trying a bunch of different ways of coming around this corner and getting to this bar. I've done that before from a single tack. I've also done it from like an around the corner tack back style motion, and the bar would hang down to about here, and that would put my head in a lot of jeopardy of trying to grab that bar. And because it was hanging down here, it was also extending out further, so even trying to get further out to catch this bar was not working. Not for anything that I wanted to do. I probably could have grabbed it, but I just couldn't. I couldn't get like the swing around into the different swing entries that I wanted to do. And you know, I don't really like having things in the space that make it a hindrance to work around. I don't mind it being a challenge to work with, but when it hinders more movements than it gives opportunities to, I try to make alterations to avoid that, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to paint beautiful pieces on beautiful canvas, and if the canvas is in the way of my ability to paint, I don't like it, so I change it. And this opening right here has given a lot more room to this section. So I'm gonna play with this for a little bit, but before I do that, I'm actually going to swap out the bar that's in this unfinished section right here with the bar that I took out of here, because I think it's longer and I need that in this section. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, bar is changed out. This section is still not done yet. One of the questions that I get the most often about the fixtures, the bar fixtures that I have here in the studio, is how I set them up so that the bar is stable and trustworthy, but still solid enough to be able to do big swings on. And a lot of people think that the bar is only going into the flange here. The flange is about 2.5 inches deep. But that's incorrect. The bars that I have that are branches like this, the one that I have here, and the one that I have sticking out of the pillar on this side, and the one that I used to have sticking out of the pillar on the opposite side, all went into the wall and they fastened to something on the other side. So this one here, I have a little 3x6 that I've Forstnered a 2-inch hole all the way through. So this bar is going about 2.5 inches into the flange. I routed out the back cap of the flange so that the bar would pass straight through, and it's going directly into about 3 more inches of this 3x6 right here. So that's 5 inches, 5.5 inches of depth that the bar is going into. Now I built this little pillar right here so that I could build a support box around the bar in order to give it a little bit more depth into something. And what that does is essentially take all of like the wiggle that this bar would get if I was actually swinging on it, and minimizes it so that it's a little bit more rigid. And like I was expressing on this joint that I just finished right here, that I need a good amount of rigidity so that one, I don't break the bar and rip it out of the wall, and two, so I can actually get my power off my swings. The more the bar moves, especially these branches, the less power I'm gonna be able to get off of the throw, and the more of it I'm gonna lose to the movement. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if there's no movement to the bar at all, that also makes it really difficult to get a lot of power, or realistically just to be able to take the force, all of that force that comes down from those big handstand casts or swing entries or giants or whatever is going to be just going through my body. I'm not going to lose any of that to any of the give that the bar could have had if it were way too rigid and way too solid. So I like to find a nice middle ground. I don't want the bar to move a whole lot, but I need it to move a little bit. I don't want the bar to move too much because then I lose power. So, the most comfortable way to get these big swings off of these branches and other bars is either to get it through the length of the bar, where it's super solid on both sides, but the length of the bar allows for some give. And if you don't have a long bar, like these branches can't be super long, about 3 feet or a little bit further than that, 3.5 feet, then you can still get some good rigidity, but you'll still get some solid like movement as well, to make the swings a little bit more comfortable. And I need to build this box out so that I can put another flange right here to keep this thing locked in place and not moving any more than I want it to. So yeah, I haven't finished that because I have been trying to figure out the exact way I want to go about doing it. I may or may not do that today. I don't think I'm gonna, but I will get back to it. So consider this a project to return to if I don't get to it today. But yeah, new bar is in, gives a lot more room. It accounts for how far the base of the slant comes out as well. So when I do eventually build the brace around this thing, it should come a little under flush with the furthest extension of the slant down there, so that, it's easy to swing on and we still have a good amount of room to swing on. So yeah, I'll get to that eventually. But new bar in, longer bar in, better bar in. I'm hype about it. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna get to an actual little swing session and see if I can test this new space out a little bit more. Okay, I lied. I actually built the frame for the box around the bar, and it's already working better. So yeah, I think the only thing that I need to do is I probably need to cut a longer bar piece because after I sheet this thing and put a flange over the front of it, it's gonna cut another about 3 inches off the bar, which is gonna make the bar about 2 feet long. And a 2 foot long branch is not a super long branch, still can be swung on, but I think that I will cut a longer bar piece. So yeah, that's what I gotta do left on this, but I'm not gonna do nothing with it else today because I already put a solid 2-ish hours into it. So yeah, gonna get to the main session over here and explain how I use this swing gap. You know, I'll get into like a more detailed tour around the entirety of the studio space a little bit later on, but because I'm going to use this gap today and probably use this corner around, I'm just going to focus on that. So catch me after I clean up. And by I clean up, I mean Armando's bitch ass could clean up. So Mondo just finished vacuuming the space, so we're about to go ahead and get into our swing session. But I'm going to start with a few isometrics. So to actually expose a little bit of information about the studio and some of the design features of it, at the bottom of this slant, which that bar that I just built the housing around is directly above me, I placed this section here for a couple different reasons. One is so that I can work on the myriad of different isometrics that I do. So like this one for my patellar tendon, or like if I put a pad on the ground, I can do Nordics here and stuff like that. We also use this exact same spot for sit-ups. Like we don't have a GHD machine in here, but we can get a pretty good amount of similar function out of this right here. So if I take this exact bench that I'm on right now and I turn it this way, now I can get all these in right here. See that? Pretty nice to be able to do that. So yeah, I put this in so that we could have kind of like a multi-purpose kind of space with this little addition right here, and it doesn't really get in the way of anything pertaining to the slant wall or any challenges coming into the slant wall, coming off the swing or anything like that. It's completely inconsequential to have this down here, and if it happens to be consequential for any reason, if there's fear of, you know, missing and going through these spaces right here, I can easily sheet this front part right here, and then that will take that entire potential away. So not really a problem right now. It's the main reason why I haven't done it. I'll probably do it when I like fully finish this entire thing, but for now it does what I need it to do. So yeah, I'm gonna finish up these isos and then we're gonna get into the session. Okay, so explaining the swing setup here, we got 3 swings that are typically going down here. There's this swing to this box, there's this swing to this box rail combo, and then there's the big swing up there. And the way that I designed this section is to have like a warm-up session essentially, or a tech session, rep session between one of these 3 gaps, one of these 3 distances. Also, I'm not the only person who trains in the studio. Mel, Armando, and some of our students actually train in here from time to time. So, you know, there has to be a range of challenge levels for everybody. I've even had Xander in here before, and Xander is one of the only people who swings up to that high level with me when he comes through. So, you know, want to have variety for everybody to be challenged accordingly at their level. But, you know, typically I like to work through all of these swings. It's the easiest way to warm up for me and to just get some good technique reps in. And obviously, this being the main setup, it is accessible for everybody that does train in here to progress themselves accordingly, you know what I mean? And I have a whole bunch of different attachments and fixtures that I can put onto these boxes that make the challenges either more difficult from a power perspective or more difficult from an accuracy and control perspective. So we got all that going down. Now this gap right here to this box is usually my starter. It's about an 8-foot swing from an 8-foot tall bar to about a 4.5-foot tall box. And then going this way, we have about a 9.5-foot swing from the 8 bar to the 3, I think this is a 38-inch, maybe a 39-inch tall box. And then going from this to the rail here, which the rail stands at about, I think it's 3'8", the rail is sitting at. And this is about 11 feet from bar to rail right here. And then my classic gap, the big 10-footer up here. So naturally, this bar is at 8. And this wall is just about at 8'4" without the 2 pieces of wood stacked up on top. With those 2 pieces of wood stacked on top, we get an exact foot above the bar from here to there, right? And that is where this has been locked for the past number of months, maybe actually 7-8 months. It's been like that. So that might change today, but just to give you guys some size and context. So yeah, I'm about to flow through these swings with Armando for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna start getting ready to throw myself up to there, and hopefully I'll be coming in from an around the corner entry right here to work on an idea that I got. So something I've been doing with this gap from the bar to the rail here is I've been practicing doing like different swing entries, you know, chill swing entries, something that has a 180 so that I have to turn around and swing back to it. And I'm pretty much just swinging at the bar, trying to be accurate, but my goal is to hold a stick
regardless of if I land good or not. Since my ankle injury, sticking rails has been difficult. Since ankle surgery a year ago, it's gotten easier to do, but it's still a challenge. I've kind of figured out my technique, but pretty much this is a good enough swing where it's not too small, where I struggle a lot to control it, and I have to change my technique a whole bunch. It's not one of those. It's one where I can kind of get a nice throw. It's nearly 11 feet, and that's enough distance for me to get a little bit of power off the bar and make the stick a little bit more challenging. So that's what I'm working on right now. One of the problems that I have when I'm doing things like this that are really within my reach is I can get a little distracted because it's not like it requires a whole bunch of effort. So what I try to do to combat that is I try to really focus on specific parts of the technique that I can get away with being lazy. So when I do this two-step here, I'm really trying to focus on taking 2 good steps, getting a nice pop cast, getting a nice turnaround, getting my legs together as soon as I can, and then getting a clean release to ideally a perfect stick. But no matter how I hit the bar, I am trying to hold the stick. The only reason I would give up on a stick is because I literally couldn't get it even if I fought for it. So yeah, I got a couple more on this and then I'm gonna turn it around. So we're a little over 30 minutes into the session, and I don't think I'm gonna have time to work on this entry, so I might actually do that tomorrow. But before I conclude the session, I wanna do a few throws up to this big one and see what's going on. Realistically, I'm trying to get a first try on this Lâché Pris. I can do that sometimes, and sometimes I can't. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen here. But my goal is first try and then maybe 3 max. If I don't get it first try, I'm trying to get it in 3, and then I'm gonna call it there. If I get it, we'll see. Count that warm-up throw after wiping the bar. I'm gonna count that one as 1 of 3. So I got 2 more to make it, and then I'm done. I wasn't gonna do nothing, but I started thinking about something and I've been playing with it. So to kind of give an explanation, because I am gonna go for it and try to get a Pris, the stacks, the 2 pieces of wood that are on top of the one with the numbers, those are to make the landing higher, which typically I do that to challenge the swing. But when I'm doing hard swing entries like this, I usually take the stacks off because the swing entries are hard enough that I just want to focus on doing those and getting a good big swing out of it, but not the biggest swing. And right now I got the stacks up there. I really don't feel like taking them off because I'll cool down just to do that. So I'm just gonna go at least 1 more try to see if I can get up there. And if I make it with the stacks, that's fucking awesome. That means that I'm like peak swing ability. But my hands are a little worked from the session, so anyway, you can see them. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm not giving this a lot more. Like, that last one felt okay on my hands. I felt like, oh shit, I could go again, so I'm gonna go again, but I'm not trying to push it like that right now and fuck my shit up, so, you know. We'll see, I'm gonna try. It's really hard to get around this corner and kick a nice pop cast because you see, it's just difficult. Honestly, if I didn't have the stacks on here, I'd be up here, no problem. I'm gonna see how I feel about 1 more, and then if I get another one like this, I'm done. To the same level as this, I gotta go in, you know? It's like a foot inset, the bar from my foot on the wall, and then the grip is back even further. So like I'm like yanking myself to get to it, and like the only thing I could do is like really stand over it, but then I'd be on the bar for fucking ever, and I don't want to do that. Like I want to get it, kick a set, and go. Let me get this one more. Just one more. Oh my god, what the fuck? Man, this shit always happens on the ones that I don't like how I looked. I don't know how I looked, but I don't like how I felt like I looked coming around. But I got up and I was like, I really went for it. Oh my god. Nice. Nice. I'm definitely taking the stacks off though, from like for here until I work back up to these. I'm taking them down.